Here at Gamespot at E3 2011, I'm your host Chris Waters, and joining next to me are two guests representing one of gaming's icons who turns 20 this year. That is Sonic the Hedgehog, and we're here to take a look at Sonic Generations. To my right, Patrick Riley, Development Director on Sonic Generations, and to his right, Hiroshi Miyamoto, the Game Director for Sonic Generations. Gentlemen, welcome to the stage.
Thank you very much, Chris.
It's a pleasure to have you guys here. Sonic Generations is a title that Sonic fans, both retro and new school, are both going to be pleased by, I think. So for those who maybe aren't as familiar with it, why don't you give us the overview?
Sure. So why don't we go ahead and start the game? And so basically what Sonic Generations, what we're trying to do here is exactly what you said, Chris, is to please both our retro and our new fans. And the thing to know, as you said, is Sonic's 20th birthday this year. So we're doing something that's never been done before. We're bringing back classic Sonic, and not just bringing him back as a character, but we're bringing back the classic Genesis gameplay. There are two styles of gameplay in the game, classic and modern. What you're seeing right now is our classic gameplay, and our goal here is to recreate the entire Genesis experience with stop-and-go platforming, momentum, multiple paths through the level,
all sorts of power-ups.
Yeah.
Moving very quickly.
Still very
and
simple.
Yeah, but you know, those kind of levels that the action is fairly simple, but the different paths to explore, the walls to break through, you know, that just gives you that replay value.
Right, and it's awesome to be able to create these levels in HD, because like the multiple paths through the levels, as we know through Sonic games, that they vertically, the multiple paths have been split up. The higher you go, the harder it is to stay up there, but the more reward that you get. But basically the HD era allows us to separate out the multiple paths into the foreground and the background and do more dynamic multiple paths, like having things affect the level.
Yeah, and we just took a little turn into, I don't know, you know, that sort of...
Yeah, the camera kind of turned behind Sonic to make, you know, it's still a 2D platformer, but it makes it feel a little bit more dynamic.
It doesn't snap over, completely into that sort of 3D camera behind the Sonic that's more iconic of the modern era.
Exactly.
But
so
it still gives it that flavor, that visual depth.
Right. So it's still the Genesis gameplay. We're staying true to that as far as the physics and the controls. You know, classic Sonic. He's got his jump and he's got his spin dash, and those are the tools he has to work with.
Excellent. No homing attacks making their way into here?
Nope. This is pretty much we're recreating the Genesis experience in full, vibrant HD.
And yeah, speaking of the HD, you've got a lot of depth going on back there in the background, as opposed to, you know, Genesis, who was maybe just two separate backgrounds, like parallax scrolling behind there.
Yes, and that brings up another point. It's we're also supporting stereoscopic 3D.
Oh, are you?
On both PS3 and 360. So yeah, that's that kind of background depth is really going to pop when if you have a 3D TV.
Very cool. Now, folks, because we are live, we are taking your questions. Just use that Ask Us a Question button on the side of the page there, and we have got questions coming in. Clearly, this is a focus for many fans from New York, England, and Norway. They're asking about co-op, because though Sonic is the headliner, Miles Tails Prower is his old school buddy. You know, there's lots of other characters in the Sonic universe, and a lot of times they're also playable. So what can you tell us about that?
Well, for Sonic Generations, the playable characters are modern Sonic and classic Sonic. Sonic's friends, such as Tails that you mentioned, will be making an appearance, but Sonic and modern Sonic and classic Sonic are the only playable characters. We didn't include co-op this time because we wanted to concentrate on creating a really compelling single-play experience. Especially, you know, we're really going back and paying tribute to the past development teams, the past titles, and we wanted to kind of bring that back, and that's all been single player. So you know, we're focusing on that.
And now we're launching into the modern era, it seems?
Yes. So this is now the modern gameplay. So the modern gameplay. Again, this is modern Green Hill Zone that you're seeing here. And modern gameplay is based on players that are familiar with Sonic Unleashed would be familiar with this, and also it's been perfected in Sonic Colors. So the modern gameplay is different because it dynamically shifts between this behind Sonic view, and it also has some 2D side-scrolling portions that dynamically shift during the level, such as right here. And obviously it's a bit faster. Sonic is boosting at incredibly fast speeds and using a bigger suite of powers. You know, he has his homing attack, he has quick step, he has that amazing boost. So it feels really different. And just one cool, awesome thing is, you know, I mean, you've seen Green Hill Zone before, But this is just, it's really a treat for the development team to be able to bring Green Hill Zone to like a modern Sonic experience.
And not just revamp the backgrounds like they did with the modern, or with the classic gameplay, but to think about, all right, well, what's it like to go through this area
exactly
behind Sonic?
And this is a perfect example of that. You know, they're trying to update things and surprise players. So you go through this waterfall, go through this cave, and it's just kind of an amazing new experience, but still familiar and nostalgic.
Now, we've mentioned Green Hill Zone. Of course, that makes appearances in the early classic Sonic games. Our user Usher D from London wants to know, you know, Sonic 1, Sonic 2, Sonic 3, are we sort of drawing from all that Genesis era, Sonic and Knuckles, for inspiration? Or
absolutely, we're bringing stages from the past 20 years of Sonic history. We've got 3 main eras that we like to call them. The Genesis, the Mega Drive era, we've got the Dreamcast era, and we've got the modern generation era. And we're bringing stages from all of those eras, both the classic and modern versions of all of them.
Now, speaking of stages, Matthew from Arkansas hits on a topic that springs out of the bonus stages. Will there be Chaos Emeralds? Can we go crazy yellow supersonic?
So, bonus stages, actually one thing we haven't talked about yet is we're also developing a version of the 3DS. We will have the bonus stages in the 3DS, but in the PS3 and 360 version, there'll be other content that's kind of taking their place, so there won't be bonus stages.
Okay.
Chaos Emeralds, though, I don't want to really give any spoilers, but you know, we are aware that fans love Chaos Emeralds, and
yes,
they like Supersonic. We don't want to give away the story, but you know, we don't want to disappoint people, so you can keep that in mind.
Hold out hope if you are a big Supersonic fan.
Yes.
All right, that sounds good. Patrick, we are getting a lot of questions coming in here. So you said, you know, folks are wondering about characters. You mentioned Tails is going to make appearances. Can you give us an example of one of the modern characters that's going to appear? We've got this one coming in from Northern Ireland.
Sure, a lot of Sonic's friends are going to appear in the game. I think we're not really talking about which friends quite yet, but let me talk about this stage that we're seeing here.
Yes,
so
please.
Basically, this is a completely different stage. This is City Escape, which first appeared on Sonic Adventure 2 on the Dreamcast. So this is similar gameplay as, well, I guess, behind the Sonic gameplay that was seen in the Dreamcast title, but again, updated to a redesigned stage, fully HD, beautiful, vivid, and you can do shortcuts such as like you're seeing here now on this stage.
This is an incredibly vertical city.
Yes, it's inspired by San Francisco, famously. And Sonic's just skateboarding down in kind of a signature.
Oh, you even got the cable car turnaround.
Yep, absolutely. So yeah, it's kind of a signature part of that level, but still a different experience. So we're trying to fulfill people's expectations and the nostalgia, but make it a new experience.
So we've got Green Hill Zone, we've got City Escape. Are we seeing, you know, Casino Night Zone? Are we going to the Arctic? Are we going to Vegas? Are we going underground?
That's an excellent question. But right now, all that we're talking about is Green Hill Zone and City Escape. And people, sharp-eyed people who look at our video may notice some hints of some other stages. But all that we're talking about right now are those two, but there are a lot more to come.
So keep a sharp eye out if you're checking out Sonic Generations content. Brian Hook from Iowa wants to know about another Sonic game. He's a big fan of Sonic Spinball. You guys including any little nods to Sonic's other adventures?
We're trying to be as comprehensive as possible, but we are kind of also looking at most people have exposure to the major titles, so you know, we're keeping that in mind as well. But I'm not saying no.
Cool. Now, so you yourself, obviously an aficionado and a fan of Sonic.
Absolutely.
So when you sit down to play this game, you know, you've played the modern games, you played the classic games. What's one thing that just kind of delights you? What puts a smile on your face when you're playing Sonic Generations, or when you think about other people playing?
Well, another thing that's really awesome about the series is the music.
Besides the giant truck chasing down the...
Yes, this truck, let me talk, yeah, this truck also shows the development team's philosophy. So that's a very famous moment within the City Escape, this truck chasing Sonic. But this time we have it in HD, and it's much more destructive, and this truck has these saw blades. And we're about to probably see something that's pretty cool right here. So again, we're showing the buildings. The dev team's trying to surprise people. You know, even if you played the previous game, even if the same thing that's happened in the previous level, you're going to be surprised in some way by exactly what happens.
Now I'm seeing that the truck, its license plate is gun, and so you think of guns, you don't really think of Sonic the Hedgehog, but I guess it's appropriate that a gun in Sonic's world is a giant flying truck with huge saw blades coming out of it.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So yeah, that's the traditional name of the truck, and so we went with that.
So that's a traditional, something that'll scratch a nostalgic itch for a lot of folks. Are there any other big scale encounters you want to tease that Sonic's going to have with?
Well, one thing I wanted to be sure to touch on is the 3DS version.
Yes, please.
Fortunately, we don't have that to show here today, but we're also developing a version on the 3DS. And one very cool thing is we're picking a whole new suite of stages for the 3DS. So the stages that you see on PS3 and 360 are going to stand alone, and we're going to have an entirely new set of stages on 3DS, except for Green Hill Zone. So the stages you play on 3DS are going to be different than the stages you'll play on PS3 and 360.
That's very cool, and of course 3DS will be in 3D, as you mentioned. The console version supporting stereoscopic 3D as well.
Absolutely, yeah. Like that truck scene is pretty impressive in stereoscopic.
I bet
3D.
that one plays pretty well from the from that point of view. I can't get over that giant truck. That thing was awesome. And now we're back in the city stage, seeing a little bit more of the one of the more two-dimensional.
Yeah,
aspects. So this looks more like the classic style.
Exactly. So what's interesting here is so City Escape was the gameplay of the modern is actually more similar to the original Sonic Adventure 2, but in creating this here in the classic version of City Escape, we basically the dev team has license to create an entirely new zone, but still include the signature elements. So again, here we have the truck, and he's threatening Sonic in an entirely new way, coming from the sides. But now here he's pulling to the background and coming back to the foreground.
You better make those jumps quickly.
Yep.
Nice. I notice he hasn't busted out the saw blades yet.
No, not just yet. But one of the cool things is the truck you may have seen here in the classic level actually destroys the terrain. So if you beat the truck across the terrain, it's going to be a different experience than if he beats you and destroys some of the level geometry.
Oh, interesting. So that plays into the Sonic's sort of multiple paths.
Exactly. Level. Exactly. So you'll be on a different path if the truck has destroyed the terrain, or if he hasn't destroyed the terrain,
and allow you to take a different course through the level.
Exactly.
We have got a lot of folks asking again about multiplayer and other characters, but like you said earlier, folks, Sonic, the two characters, classic Sonic and modern Sonic, and though we will be seeing other characters from the Sonic's history, none of them are playable in Sonic Generations.
Correct. So we're focusing on the experience with modern and classic Sonic, but you will be able to interact with your friends in some way. We just are not talking about just what yet. We will, on the 3DS version, I should mention, multiplayer, we will have a two-player versus multiplayer mode.
Oh, great.
Yeah, this is 3DS specific feature.
Okay.
Yes, so that will be available
Are
on
we
3DS.
talking a straight race through the level?
We're still, I don't think we're talking about the details of that just yet, but there will be some kind of
multiplayer mode. Wireless connectivity.
Yes, and we'll have Street Pass, a lot of other 3DS specific features.
Street Pass, maybe a Sonic AR card that folks can play around with.
That's interesting. Yeah.
Oh, there you are.
So that completes our stage. Maybe we can get the director back up here again.
Very cool. Perfect bonus. Game director doing very well.
Yeah.
Showing off his stuff. And now we see the score. You got a score there.
Yes.
Are we talking any kind of leaderboards? Maybe compete with your friends.
Yeah, we are including We are including some internet functionality. So I don't think, again, we're not talking about the details, but there will be functionality around the leaderboard scoring. That's always fun and awesome to do with Sonic.
All right, Patrick. So more details to come about Sonic Generations in the coming months. But tell us, when is Sonic Generations coming out for the different platforms?
It's coming out holiday 2011 on all three platforms.
On PS3, 360, and 3DS.
Nintendo 3DS. Correct.
Patrick Riley, thank you so much for joining us and bringing the blue blur by. Happy birthday to him.
Thank you. I'll pass on your best wishes.
All right, cheers. You folks are headed back out on the show floor yet again because there are just so many booths, and we have plenty of time to send them to you. Warner Brothers is where we're stopping off this time. Let's see what Homer Rivara manages to turn up there.